Welcome everyone to Life Farm's webinar on anti-aging skincare. I think a lot of you know me. I've been with the company for more than 8 years. I'm the medical advisory board member for Life Farm, and I do a lot of international webinars and have been with them since, I feel, since almost a decade. And I am a medical doctor, but I turned holistic almost 20 years ago. So I practice integrative. My specialty is Ayurvedic medicine. And let's introduce our guest, Dr. Sanobar Pizad. And we are so lucky to have you here today with all your credentials and all that you've done in skin health. It's amazing. So, she's a double board certified dermatologist. She is a leading expert in integrative and holistic dermatology and has a YouTube channel, Healthy Aging with not just doctor, but doctor. I like that. And she's the founder and creator of Agenesis and Baby Skin Wise. And she specializes and has expertise in also trichology, in pediatric dermatology, anti-aging, and also the surgical side of the skincare or dermatology. So welcome, Dr. Sanobar. Thank you for taking out time to be a part of this webinar. And as we started, I think the first question that pops in your mind when you think about skin is, what are the concerns that a person has when you're aging? And I know that that is the number one hot topic in today's world because people want to find out how they can actually reverse aging and have the best skin ever. So if you can guide us on that.
Definitely. And thank you so much for such a warm introduction. Just like I know it might sound cliche, but my last name is actually Doctor because people generally tend to skip on that. And that's the reason why it's Doctor Doctor. That's how me and my husband are popularly known as. And when it comes to the aging skin, it is one of the hottest topics today. Everyone wants to look young, everyone wants to uh, have that youthful glow and that tight skin tone that they had when they were in their 20s and 30s. So, the most common thing that I have people coming in to me for is I want to look like so and so celebrity, or I want to have, like, look at this, or look at this, and it's sagging, and do something about it. Now, with age, there are many things that are happening, right from the cellular level to the kind of environmental stress that we are being subjected to many things that are coming into play when our skin is getting affected, right? And the most common aging skin concerns, in my opinion, that I have seen are obviously the appearance of fine line and wrinkles. People tend to focus on that. But another very important thing that they don't realize is some form of pigmentation or discoloration of the skin, uneven skin tone. And that actually begins way before than we even realize. And that contributes to a lot of that aged appearance of the skin that we are worried about or that we want to take care of. And the other thing that I think really matters is a lot of subtle inflammation within the skin that is not really visible till probably you might not have rosacea or psoriasis or have some active skin concern. But I think pigmentation, loss of collagen and elastin manifesting in the form of fine lines and wrinkles, and that underlying inflammation, which can erupt in various ways, is they are one of the few and important changes that are taking place.
And I think, unfortunately, the South Asian skins, the most, they are the ones who have the biggest brunt of it all because they are prone to a lot of, melasma-like situations or having that hyperpigmentation. It just doesn't go away. And I see a lot of clients also where they are so tired of all that. And then again, that concept of sunblocks and all that, it was never really a part of our lives some 2 decades ago or 3 decades ago. Now I think the people are very aware, and I see young girls and even boys taking really good care of their skin, which I think is a positive. because a lot of times we would shun the men and say, hey, you don't really need to have skincare products. It's only for the girls or women. And you would actually get shocked if you found a fairness cream in the refrigerator of a guy. So, but it's all good now. So I want to inject a slide which will probably explain this a little better. It's healthy aging, and it's healthy skin aging, call it that, or just a skin which is healthy on this side, and then you have that damaged skin on the other. So if you could just explain this diagram to the viewers.
Sure. So right now, what we're seeing on the screen is towards the left. Will it be the left of your screen, right? So that is the healthy skin. And what it's actually showing is the normal cell turnover, basically. So what happens is, another thing that I really want everyone to appreciate is how wonderful our body is created. Like, ever since I got into medicine and then I learned so much more, I've always been in awe that everything happens so meticulously and so beautifully, and everything, like every part and cell of our body knows exactly what needs to be done. Now, when we talk about the skin is just not this one layer that we probably assume is covering the entire body. So it is made up of multiple layers that are present. So what we see over here in the diagram is these multiple layers of cells that are present. So the skin cells are essentially born in the lowermost layer, and then they, like how we grow. So they're going to grow, they're going to divide, they're going to proliferate, and they're going to keep rising up. And then once they've lived their life, that takes around 14 to 28 days, they will then die, they will lose their nucleus, and then they'll shed off. And that is where the concept of exfoliation and all these things come into play. So this is normally happening. It happens beautifully. It happens beautifully till we are in the adolescent stage, till we are in our 20s. Probably now I've seen people starting to get into the anti-aging game, even as teenagers, which isn't really required. But yeah, this is normally happening. Now, as we're aging, like every other part of our body, these things will tend to slow down. So now we need to take extra care. So what was normally happening, we might need to give some extra added support, some extra boost, to make sure that this cycle at least is normally taking place. What also happens is there will be a lot of loss of collagen, elastin, probably because of exposure to the ultraviolet light, which is one of the major factors that causes degradation of collagen. And that's why I always say safe sun exposure. Now, sun is the a life-giving force. It is important. And I follow integrative and holistic dermatology just as you do, Dr. Samina. So I believe in the importance of good amount of safe sun exposure. It helps in vitamin D production. It helps in so many other cellular processes within the body. But anything extra is not good, right? So that ultraviolet light, if it's going to be beyond what is good for our skin, is then going to lead to a lot of other factors, a lot of other inflammatory changes. It is going to trigger other cascades within the skin and lead to a lot of things that is going to contribute towards the aging skin.
And I think many people on this webinar know that skin is the largest organ of your body. And somehow we never regard it as an organ, you just don't think of it as really something that is present. And I remember meeting the father of vitamin D once when I went and attended Dr. Andrew Weil's conference, and he told us that it's so important to expose our skin in the right amount to the sunlight. And there are many regions in the world where a lot of women are covered and they don't really, are not even educated on this. But I would urge anyone who's listening to the webinar, or whoever watches us right now, to know that it's so important to expose yourself, your body, to the limit that you can. And you can go to a private spot in your garden or outside and try to, make a little covering around. Do something. I know you can go to the roof of the house or something. Try to let somebody, like, maybe even make sure, if you don't want to expose yourself that way where you can be seen, because in some cultures it's okay to go for bathing and sunbathing and swimming and beaches, but for others you can find some solution. But expose yourself for 30 minutes in winter, and 15 minutes in the summer. Just like Dr. Sanober said, that intelligent way of actually, taking that sunlight in is so important. And so, we usually say the skin is a very intelligent body system. So I want to ask you, Dr. Sanober, you just told us makes sense. It is the skin intelligence system that all those new cells go up, replacing the dead ones. We are very keen today to talk about our new product. It's new because it's the same name, Lamidum Apex, but it's now modified. It's new. There's no new additions to it. So that's Lamidum Apex. I want you to tell me how this intelligent skin system is working over here in this particular product, in the renewal, repair, and protection sort of mindset.
So as I said, with age, when things are slowing down, if we have some sort of collagen degradation, if we have some sort of elastin breakdown, now these are I might be using scientific terms, but I just want to, for the benefit of everyone, have this kind of accurate terminology whenever we are referring, because I've seen a lot of people on social media saying a lot of things and promising a lot of miraculous results with certain things, but we have to be realistic and we need to understand what happens with what. So with Lamidum Apex, what really caught my eye and what is really beautiful is certain ingredients have been specifically added to this new formulation that is specifically targeting certain concerns which are a major concern for the aging and mature skin. So when we're speaking about the dyspigmentation, like if we see the diagram once again, that basal layer where I said that the skin cells are being formed actually are melanocytes that gives our skin the color. They are present, like they're sitting right there. They're like, imagine big fat cells sitting in between of those dividing cells right at the bottom over there. And again, because of UV light or because of any irritation or some sort of thing, they can get irritated and produce more melanin, which will increase that pigmentation and that uneven skin tone and those kind of concerns that we see, melasma, all these things start manifesting because of that irritation to that melanocyte, which was happily sitting and just producing how much we require to give our skin that color. But now with certain, if that cascade has been triggered, that cycle has been triggered where the body cannot take care of it by itself, the use of certain products, specifically like Lamidum Apex in this case, can help take care of it and then in time reverse the process and bring it back to its regular cycle. So it'll be very interesting to see what ingredients are present in the new Lamidum Apex, because then we can specifically tell everyone this is how it's going to act.
Exactly. So let's go to the most precious ingredient, which is mainly the egg bioactive growth factors, right? They have been put in, and I know there are a lot of sources of the growth factors. You can get them from plants, you can get them from synthetic sources. But here you have the avian egg extract, a fertilized avian egg extract, which is rich in these bioactive proteins. So tell us a little about the significance of these particular proteins which have been added to the Lamidum Apex. I know that bioactive growth factors are very much a part of life farm products also, but if you can shed some light on how these bioactive growth factors help our skin.
Definitely. I think that's a great question. And that again brings us back to the basics. I always tell my patients, I always tell my clients that we come to the basics. Now, what we're seeing over here, they're egg bioactive growth factors. So let's just think of the egg. We know the egg is a complete meal by itself. It is 6 grams of proteins. You have good amount of DHA, the good fats, the omegas, everything that is present, along with various other growth factors. So if you're internally consuming it, great. If you don't, that is absolutely fine, because now you have Lamidum Apex giving it to you in the topical form. But when we speak about these growth factors, now there are so many that are normally acting and that are present within the body. And there are certain substances like egg, that contain. Now, if we have to specifically speak about them, probably the platelet-derived growth factor, the VEGF, the vascular endothelial growth factor, what these are doing, so when collagen is being produced, there are various steps, and these growth factors are going to act like catalysts, and they are going to stimulate the entire process to take place in that beautiful manner that it normally does, and help in the production of the base of our skin to make our skin strong from within, instead of just probably tackling certain things. So having this, when I was first introduced to it, the first thing that like caught my mind was having these egg bioactive growth factors, because quite honestly, I'm not sure how many in the market have this particular ingredient, and it seems to be very promising. And yeah, I'm excited.
Let's look at the next slide, which is going to, actually contain all those difficult names. I
Sure, sure.
always don't get intimidated, please. It's okay. And these are actually a very integral part of this particular product. The fibroblast growth factor 2, or FGF2, a lot of my participants in this webinar know about, because they are very familiar with the flagship product of Life Farm called Laminine. And many of you have been on that and using it. And I myself and my family, we've been using Laminine for, almost 8 years. And it's such a wonderful product with the FGF2, where it has that intelligence to go and tell the stem cells to arrive wherever repair is required, wherever, regeneration has to be done. So this kind of intelligence is very vital to the success of laminine as well. And so Life Farm has added it to Lamiderm Apex. It's there. But along with that, the transforming growth factor, platelet-derived growth factor is also there. So these are one of those important ones that have made it to this particular product. But also, let's look at an experiment that Dr. Sanober will talk about. This particular experiment, or a study, was done by Dr. Alexander Hynek, and we are very proud of this study. Perhaps you can, tell everybody about this particular study.
Sure. So, what I want everyone to focus on is what we are seeing, because the visual impact speaks for itself, right? So, when we see now, again, for those who might, now I'm sure everyone knows what collagen is, but elastin is like that elastic framework. Again, the word speaks for itself. Like the rubber band, when we pull it, it comes back because of its elasticity. So, though we always focus on collagen because now it has been supplemented and everyone knows the term, elastin is equally important, because without that, our skin is not going to be that supple cell, be its supple self, and then come back to its original form. And the other is fibronectin. This is what the fibroblast growth factor essentially is going to trigger. And that is going to stimulate that entire cascade of formation of collagen and elastin. All right, so these are the three things that we were studied. And look at the before and look at the after. We can see, I think what you see as those blue and yellow spots or the orange spots, they are those tags, so that we could identify what the structure is that we're seeing. But even if we just plainly see and we do not understand any science, you can see the amount of greens that are present in the after, and that shows that improvement, because they are essentially tagging the collagen, elastin, and fibronectin, and showing that entire meshwork. You can see how robust they are. They've become thicker, they've become like you see more of them in number, and that is essentially what's happening. Imagine how I like to explain it, probably if we are weaving, imagine you're weaving some form of cloth, and if your weaves aren't tight enough, so that is like less amount of collagen elastin, you'll have this flimsy material over you. And as you weave tighter, you have more amount of thread that is coming into play, and they're more making more of these interlocking connections. You're going to have this solid, nice sheet of cloth that you can use to wrap around you, right? So it's the same way with our collagen, elastin, fibronectin, and many, many other things. Probably this was only studied, and that's why this is what we see. But there are so many other molecules and cells within the body that we've not even named, but probably that is being affected as well.
Yes, and I love the analogy of that mosquito net. Sometimes I feel you buy those good ones which have that tight weave so no mosquito can go in, whereas you also have those substandard ones which have such huge holes that all those creatures come in and bite you and you end up getting malaria. So I think that is the difference between having that tightness and beautiful sort of, rigid and tight elastin, fibrin, collagen-like skin, which of course it does not have wrinkles also, when you have that in the right measure. So there's another diagram we want everybody to see after this. It's the study that Dr. Alexander did, and what here you see is they took like 1% of the bioactive growth factors, and they put them on actual skin cells. And the interesting thing is the molecular structure of the egg bioactive growth factor resembles that of the skin, and the skin structure, the fibroblasts, and also it was very easy for these egg bioactive factors to assimilate or get absorbed into the skin. And you see the proliferation of the cells, how sort of plump they got and big they got. And that, of course, is what we're trying to prove and show. So if you see this, you see that 65% improvement after 7 days of having put them, they put them in a Petri dish, and they saw the results under the microscope of the control and when the egg extract was added to the skin cells, which I think is amazing. Let's also look at, Dr. Sanobar, other ingredients which are part of our product, Lifearm Apex. So here we have another beautiful slide where you see bakuchiol, hydration 2 complex, niacinamide, and also the cellular renewal peptides. And I want you to talk about the peptides and also vitamin C.
Sure. So, I'm not sure how familiar everyone is. I'm sure everyone knows about vitamin C by now because it has been the craze and touted as the miracle to get rid of pigmentation. But again, it can do only so much. What I want everyone to pay attention to is the shelf stable form of vitamin C. And that is why most of the products fail to deliver results, because vitamin C gets oxidized very quickly once it gets exposed to the atmospheric oxygen. So having shelf stable vitamin C over here, along with niacinamide, is going to primarily act towards the pigmentation concern that we have with the aging skin. Okay, and niacinamide also helps. Remember, I told you all about that subtle inflammation that is always taking place. And the reason why I say always is I am yet to see someone with like perfect homeostasis and perfect functioning within the body, myself included. Probably only Brian Johnson, who's like, I don't know if y'all know about him, but he spent like millions of dollars behind his body, and like it's a different field. But otherwise, because of the environmental stressors, because of personal stresses that we are all subjected to, there is some form of inflammation taking place within the body throughout the entire body. And that includes the skin as well. So, niacinamide is a very potent ingredient that helps calm that inflammation, take care of pigmentation, and work at many other things as well. And when it comes to peptides and bakuchiol was the recent rage as the retinol alternative. And the reason why I like this is because it is very effective for those who have sensitive skin. Retinol or vitamin A cannot be tolerated by everyone, though it is a wonderful molecule in itself and it does definitely work. But there's only so much that there are certain sections of people who cannot tolerate it. They just cannot. And in that case, bakuchiol was a very, very novel ingredient because it was found to give results similar to retinol, but at the same time, not with that harsh sensitivity or that irritation um, that was the problem with retinol. So having that along with peptides essentially is going to again act on that basic framework that we're saying. It's going to boost and strengthen the skin from within, stimulate collagen production, help in the entire skin cell cycle turnover to normalize, which was slowing down as we were aging. And the hydration U complex essentially is having those certain molecules that together with all of these is going to balance it out and help trap moisture so that when you apply this, you have these multiple effects and multiple targets that are being taken care of at the same time.
Yes, and I think the fact that bakuchiol is in this case, is a natural plant-based alternative. I think I love that because I have seen people really react to the retinol, which is usually used in products, and it's really severe. Instead of actually improving the skin, you end up having redness and literally like the skin appearance totally goes. So I understand that bakuchiol might not be as strong as retinol that is usually used in other products, but I personally feel that the safety of a product and also the kindness of that product to the system is very important. And for all those people who have sensitive skin, it's such a great alternative. So let's go to the next slide where we are going to actually compare the old to the new. So for people who were using the old Lamidum Apex, if you remember, they had the antioxidants like pomegranate, cranberry, and blueberry, and all those, which are amazing. But still here, the antioxidants, which are neutralizing the free radical, are operating at a 90% versus what we had before, which was only 10%. And the moisture again is more, and we all know that moisture is so imperative to a good skin. So from 10% to 50%, which is amazing. And the skin cell regeneration stays the same, which is not a bad number. It's 42%. But the collagen boosting ability of this new product, jumping from 46% to 119%, I think is exemplary. So you are really getting a lot of advantage, and especially in areas where, like our expert dermatologist has already pointed out, that if you want to have your skin looking, probably 10 years younger or 20 years younger, the important thing is to have good collagen content, to have the ability to regenerate, because as we age, our ability to regenerate new cells is what goes down. So I think it's a great win-win situation here. So we will also go to our next slide where you will see some numbers. These are percentages. And of course, we have references below this in the slide. And Dr. Sanober, just guide us on this, how this is backed by science now, and we have some proven results.
So when it comes to, again, collagen, as we saw in the previous slides, it has been found that this combination has been found to increase the production by 119%. The hydration lasts for 72 hours. Wrinkle appearance improves by 350%. Discoloration pigmentation reduces by 57%, and elasticity and texture boosts by 50%. Just one thing, I don't want everyone to be fixated by numbers, because again, what studies we see, they are done in vitro or they are done on a set sample of patients. Every human body is different, but this gives us an idea that if in that prototype population or in that sample population, we saw this amount of significant improvement, we can expect the same with us as well. But again, there are so many other things that have to be taken into play. But I think the combination of all the ingredients, it's a very clever play. And I think it's a very beautiful amalgamation that is actually targeting specific concerns of the aging and the mature skin.
I'm going to actually, ask you to compare Lamidum Apex to some other products which are available. And also let me, jump in with another query here. Do you really feel that it's important that a product should work at a cellular level versus just at a superficial surface level? And if so, why?
That is a great question, Dr. Samina. And the answer is kind of a yes and no. And the reason why I say is again, it depends on what your goal and what your target concern is. Now, when we speak about only essentially treating the surface, I would think of probably petroleum jelly or something that is only going to seal and seal in the moisture and form a barrier to protect my skin from the dryness that is present outside. And essentially, that would be just to maintain the skin barrier, just form an extra layer. But when we're speaking, there are so many products today that have come into the market and they promise such um, brilliant results that they tout that they have. Like in this case as well with Lamiderm Apex, what is important is whether it has those ingredients that is capable of manifesting and producing those results, right? And this is why I feel Lamiderm Apex, when it says it gives long-term results, it is because of all the ingredients that are present, right from niacinamide, bakuchiol, especially the egg bioactive growth factors, the egg extract. That is one of its strengths because growth factors today are very expensive. To be honest, if we have to inject them in the form of exosomes or just get them, um, like get those extracts for various other things, they're really expensive. So if you are getting that from an if you're getting that in some form, I think that added advantage is what is separating Lamiderm Apex from the other products that are available in the market. And yeah, I think
Yes.
that it speaks it all.
So basically, what you're saying here is that when you use a product that works at a cellular level, you're really improving the foundation of the organ, which is the skin. And I think it's also cost effective because you end up spending so much money buying certain products, which, if they're just working at the superficial level or the surface level, they might give you some instant cosmetic advantage, but it's not long lasting. And I think that's the beauty of having a product like this, Lamiderm Apex, where you're looking at the long time investment, where you know that if I use this regularly, it's going to give me a beautiful skin and it's going to work at the cellular level, ensuring that, you are a youthful, sort of, looking person. You have the beauty of youth, and, you've also had the intelligence to invest wisely. So let's look at the next slide, which talks mainly about the safety, because I think that's so vital to any product, right? Having innovation is good, but if it's dangerous at any level, it's not good. So this is the safety recognition and innovation of this product, where you look at all these self-explanatory, actually, aspects. It's non-toxic and it's a patent. It's hypoallergenic, made in the US. So it's whenever you receive it in the US, at least if you're buying it from here, you know that the ingredients were really good, ethically well sourced. No cruelty was done to the animals. And I think here I would like Dr. Sanober to talk about the safety for skin types. And that I think is something that is unique, why it's ideal here for sensitive and mature skin.
Yes, definitely. Just coming back to when you had mentioned about retinol being very strong and not meant for everyone when we discussed that. Again, retinol is like the lowermost version that is present in the grade of vitamin A. And to be honest, I feel retinol can be used by everyone. It's just like they don't know how it needs to be used. But the reason why I like bakuchiol being present is that problem of knowing how to use it and how to take care of it and how to go about it is eliminated for the common man. So if you and I who is just want, like, everybody doesn't have time to really invest and know and do everything. Like when people come to me also, they are like, just tell me what needs to be applied or just tell me what needs to be done and I will do it, and like get out of the house and like go about my stuff, because there are so many things that need to be done. So when we say it is safe for all skin types, is because not only the ingredients, but even the concentration of those particular ingredients have been kept in such a way that they will produce the effects without their side effects. all right? Because all these ingredients at the end of the day, we need to understand they are being extracted, they are being synthesized in the lab. So, and what is another major advantage of this product, I feel, is if it is ideal for the sensitive and mature skin, I think that's a win-win for everybody, because today, again, because of the exposure to pollution, ultraviolet light, as well as trying so many products, a lot of my patients, like, I just the other day I had a patient come in, and she had like gotten an entire bag of all these products that she was trying, and she was saying, look at my skin, it's so red and inflamed. And my first thing to her was, you need to stop trying so many. This is what is triggering that amount of inflammation. So um, yeah, we need to understand that if we are trying something based on somebody's recommendation, we need to understand whether it's applicable to us, whether it is suiting what our target concerns are. And in this case, definitely again, everybody's skin is going to be different. Everybody's body is different. So whenever you try any new product, what I always advise is try some amount of it, either on the undersurface of your arm, on your thigh, over your neck. These are the areas where your skin is thin, like how it's present over the face. But even if you get some redness, you will come to know, instead of applying it all over your face and then coming in to your doctor with a red face. Yeah. So
So, so give me a sense of what a regular, normal skincare routine should be. As I get up in the morning, I do know that we have to do it morning, evening, but give me a semblance of those steps.
definitely. So again, a skincare routine can range from a very basic one to something like how the Koreans have an 8 and 10 step skincare routine. So it is very varied based on how much you want to invest, what are your target concerns, and how much you want to play about it. But if I have to break it down very simply, is you need to cleanse. And when we speak about cleansing, so imagine AM and PM, a morning and nighttime routine. So it's not necessary to wash your face with a cleanser, or I don't recommend using a soap or a face wash. Please tell me if somebody is using a soap right here. That is one thing we need to stop, especially the men need to stop washing their face with soap, but just plain water, because again, we're talking about the aging and mature skin. So just plain water will be fine if you are towards the drier side. Otherwise, use a gentle cleanser to wash away all the impurities. But cleansing is a very important step in your nighttime skincare routine, because you worked throughout the day, you've been exposed, you've applied makeup, you've done certain things, you've applied certain products. So it's important to get that out. So cleansing is your first step. All right, but the type of cleansing and the way of cleansing, you must have got an idea by now how it's going to be a little different, right? It depends. The second step is um, moisturization. That's again the basic. If there is somebody who tells me I don't want to spend a lot of time doing something, I'm like, okay, then we need to at least maintain the skin barrier. All right, because that is integral. Now, if we have something like Lamiderm Apex in this case, which falls under the purview of a serum and not a thick moisturizer per se, what is happening is we are taking care of multiple concerns, but without the use of 10 different products. Like I could tell you, use glycolic acid or niacinamide and retinol or something different. Or we could have something like Lamiderm Apex, where we just use it after cleansing and then add on our moisturizer just for that added intense hydration. Because I think with the aging skin, people always tell me, oh, I'm prone to acne, I had oily skin. And I'm like, sweetheart, you had oily skin years before when you were a teenager. And now you have to understand that our skin, our body is going to change with seasons and the environment. So we need to understand. And if you need that added hydration, add in an extra basic moisturizer. And then again, based on whether it's the AM, sunscreen is a must. Depends where are you living, how much sun are you being exposed to. If you're near the equator, or if you are going to be out in the sun for more than 30 minutes, sunscreen and different forms of sun protection is a must. And during the nighttime, I think then just let your skin breathe and have a good night's sleep.
That's wonderful to hear. And I just want to add two more things here. Um, we have, through your expertise, found out that Lamiderm Apex will serve as the serum. So there are two other qualities of this serum. It has lysyl oxidase. Lysyl oxidase is an enzyme which is a part of Lamiderm Apex, and it's going to boost the activity of collagen and elastin. So this is so required for the synthesis. So what we talked about, weaving that very tight web, is what is important. So it'll give that structural integrity to the skin. And I think that is so phenomenal. And then another thing is that this particular serum has collagen type 1, it has 3 and 4. Usually, the serums in the market, or if they are saying we have collagen in our product, would usually be just collagen 1. So, based on that, I think this serum is definitely at a higher level from the serums which are available in the market. And Dr. Sanobar and I are both integrative practitioners. We are both holistic. We love that. We are like Deepak Chopra would say, Dr. Deepak would always say that if two people align at any level or on a frequency, it's called synchro destiny. So nothing is random. For Dr. Sanobar to be here on this webinar and for me to be a part of it too is all because we are bringing in this good energy of a lot of things that you can incorporate in your life and try to have a healthy skin. And I do want to like bring a little Ayurveda into this because Dr. Sanobaran, I'm sure you've also read this, that Ayurveda actually says beauty is external, which we obviously see with our eyes, but it's also internal. That means diet, exercise plays a huge role. But I love this that they say it's eternal or eternal. So it's just not external and internal. And what are your thoughts on this?
Definitely. I think that was so beautiful and profound. And to be honest, uh, the reason why I got into integrated dermatology is because in my conventional practice, after residency, being an assistant professor, I kept seeing my patients coming back again and again with the same concern. And that got me thinking that all I am doing is just masking their symptom. I'm not actually getting rid of the disease per se. And most of conventional medicine has always taught us there is no cure or the cause is idiopathic. That means we do not know what is causing it. And then I was like, we've come advanced in so many ways, but still we're not getting rid of it. And that got me to learn more about nutrition because that's something that we were honestly not taught. That got me to learn about the different forms. I haven't like studied Ayurveda per se, to be honest, but I come from the land of Ayurveda, where we were inherently introduced during our daily practices, like without even knowing we were following so many things. And then I studied about homeopathy and different forms, traditional Chinese medicine, and I realized the Eastern philosophy or the different other things, there is a lot of similarity in what they say, and they're always trying to get to the root cause. And this is like one thing where even Ayurveda and all the other alternative forms of medicine, that is what they're trying to get at, right? We are trying to find out what is exactly causing that thing and then trying to get rid of it, and that is why only external application or taking care of the skin, if we are talking about that today, has its own limitations. It can only do so much. So we have to pay attention to all the other aspects, our lifestyle, our mindset, our mental health, our relationships, finance, stress, all these things. We might not believe it, but they will manifest in some form or the other within the body. So taking care, that's how, as you said, even I completely believe that if we are together on this webinar today, there is some reason. And I think it reflects as well, right? Like your glow, your personality. Like you will come to know when someone has that entire attunement within them, that approach, that is the right way to go. And today there is a lot of awareness coming up, and people are actually realizing this. So I think it's very exciting. and something that everybody should keep in mind, because if we are just going to focus on what the problem is and not trying to get to the solution, we are not going to get a lot of results.
It's been such a pleasure having you here, and I think you and I can go on, but I'm going to like try to wind up our discussion by asking you an interesting thing. There's so many myths which are available online, right? And I was able to collect some of them and I'm going to share them. They are interesting myths. We want to debunk them. So one of them is aging skin is only about genetics and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Then the second one is you don't need to use a sunscreen on a cool, cloudy day or if you're sitting in shade. And then the third one is doing facial exercises can fix the wrinkles. And then expensive products are more effective. So, and of course, this one that is very commonly used, only women need anti-aging skincare. So what is your, let's call it the biggest myth you feel you'd like to add to this list?
Um, the biggest myth is, I think, when people think that with topical skincare, they're going to get rid of their wrinkles and fine lines. Because, again, as I said, there's only so much that topicals can do, but they are a very important part of taking care of what your goal is. And just like to quickly address all the myths that that you mentioned for the benefit of everyone. Sunscreen needs to be applied. Now, if you're going to be in the shade, if you're going to keep the blinds down and you're indoors, it's fine. But like how I'm near the window, or if I'm going to be out, I think for a period of 5 to 10 minutes is it's okay. But if you're out and you think that the clouds are protecting you, that's not true. UVB is able to pass through that as well. In fact, now have studies that are showing that they can pass through the window pane as well. So this entire thing of not applying sunscreen when it's cloudy is not true. You need to apply. Then this is very interesting when you mentioned face yoga exercises getting rid of wrinkles, and the reason why is because I just recently we finished recording a video where I am teaching a form of facial exercise, but I am specifically explaining why it's not going to get rid of your wrinkles, because there are so many of my clients again who come to me and they say that, look, I'm doing and this and that, and do you see the results? And like
Yeah.
how to explain that there is so much that it can do again. That's one thing we need to understand. They were very interesting ones. What were the other ones that you
Or
mentioned?
remember that men don't need any
Oh,
products. They
yes.
like
How many men do we have on this call today?
on this
Because,
call. Let's see.
but again, it comes down to now men, to be honest, I find them to be having a genetic advantage, in the sense their sebum, their sebaceous glands work in a very different way from women. But that doesn't mean that they need to take their skin for granted, right? Because at some point they are going to see that the skin is going to give up, and then they're going to manifest all the problems of the aging skin. So Daniel.
Daniel Parsons, yeah, he said, I need to start using some sunscreen. That's an honest confession. So, my brother in law is forever bothering my sister by stealing her, skincare products and applying them and saying, "Look how he has two daughters also and a son, but the girls are there at the house, so they keep using these beautiful products." And also, he'll also, catch some words like, "Look, I have glass skin today." So I think that's so cute. But I do want to, talk about the importance of skincare. And I think Life Farm, we need to show one more slide before we leave. This is a slide that's going to show you about, two products which are my favorite, Omnia and Laminine, and I've used both of them. Laminine, of course, I've used because I wanted to have more stamina as well and for good skin, for staying happy. We call it the happy pill. It definitely supports the serotonin actions and it is made up of the bioactive egg factors, the growth factors, the marine proteins, phytoproteins. But Omnia, for those people who are on this call, I've been somebody who, since a very young age, was very excited and was conscious of taking good care of my skin. So I used different products individually. And when I saw Omnia, I felt everything that I had used individually in my life had been put in one bottle. And the antioxidants I was using, the botanical complex, the B complex. So it's such a wonderful product, Red Clover Blossoms. And I started getting compliments from friends also. They're like, Samina, your skin is looking good. You don't look 61. I just let the cat out of the bag. But it's true, if you take care of yourself, with all this, it shows. But I'm going to say goodbye to you, Dr. Sanober, and also thank you for being a part of this webinar and for educating us at so many levels. And I hope, we learn from it. And after the webinar is over, many of us take that first action, because I keep telling people, when you do something, something happens. When you do nothing, nothing happens. So, Dr. Sanober, any final words from you?
No, thank you so much for having me. I equally enjoyed being a part of this webinar. If you all have any questions, please feel free. But as Dr. Samina said, the first step is always take action. So understand again, it's always based on what your needs and concerns are, and take that first step towards it. And all the very best.
And as I bid you goodbye, I do want to say I'm so happy to hear that aging, is not related to genetics only. And I really sort of, want to stress on the fact that you can actually, right now we could talk about epigenetics. So it's on top of genetics. So through a good lifestyle, through taking care of yourself, through prevention, through protection, like Dr. Sanober said, you don't have to get into the fatal sort of outcome of a genetic, that your mother didn't have good skin, or your grandparents didn't. You can reverse genetics. You can change it. So I would urge you to uh, prevent, protect, and try to restore. A good night's sleep is so important. And I do want to mention that. I don't know if we talked about it, but remember to sleep, because sleeping really rejuvenates your skin to such an extent that you have no idea. And drinking water. So till we meet again. And of course, thank you, Dr. Sanober, for taking out time. And I hope you come again. Thank you. Bye bye.
Absolutely my pleasure. Take care.
Bye
Bye.
bye.